Welcome to Stevie's Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make something nice, simple, and delicious for dinner. I got a steak sandwich going with caramelized onions and a arugula salad and some sweet potato french fries that we're going to air fry. These are two things that you're not going to want to miss out on. So the first one I'm going to do is get these sweet potatoes going. I got some ice and some water I'm going to add to this bowl. So you want to soak our french fries for at least 20 minutes to help pull out some of that starch. Then I'm also going to add in just a little bit of vinegar as well. So we'll have these two going to the side. Now let's get started peeling our sweet potatoes. I mean, you can peel all the skin off if you want to. You can kind of leave it on. That's up to you. I personally, when it comes to sweet potato fries, like the skin removed. Regular fries, however I'm feeling that day. So we're gonna come in here with our sweet potatoes. Chop off tops and bottoms. This my little weird thing I always do. You don't have to do that. But then I'm gonna come through, rotate, and give myself a kind of a flat surface on every side. So whenever we go to chopping these, we got a little flatter surface to work with, and it's not just wobbling all around on us where we can accidentally cut ourselves. So now we want to start. We're going to go long ways, about 1/4 of an inch thick. Once we have all these cut, then we're just going to cut long ways down to make french fries. And there you go. Then after you cut them, drop into our ice water. That is to pull the starch out of them, like I was saying earlier. Then we're gonna repeat for all of them. If you want to, you can stack these on top of each other and cut. Just, it's whatever you feel like. I'm not gonna sit here and say I have the best knife skills in the world, so sometimes I like to do mine individually so I can really concentrate and make sure I get them all as close to uniform as I can. If your knife skills are better than mine, stack them up and go right away. But never be afraid to take things a little bit slower. So now that we're on our last sweet potato, making our french fries, getting them all into the water. Probably asking why are we soaking these in water with a little bit of vinegar? Because it's going to pull the starch out of them, and then whenever you pull the starch out of them, they're going to be able to crisp up better. So now, just trying to go through, kind of get everything submerged. Like I said, we're going to let this go for about 20 minutes. Then after 20 minutes, we're going to take these out, and we're going to get a good dry on them before we toss them in the air fryer. All right, so now next what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our onion out because we're gonna get these caramelized onions going. So this one started off how we do our normal chop. The onion, just gonna get these off so we can get the skin off of them. And then this will just be a simple chop because at the end of the day, these are all going into a pan with a little bit of butter. And you're gonna go low and slow for about 30 to 40 minutes. Salt, butter, pepper, that's it. And just keep them moving. Bring out the natural sugars in them. But if you're in a rush, you can add a little brown sugar. And so, like I said, just simple. Now that we got our onions chopped, we got a pan that is nice and warm. We're gonna go and get our butter. We got 3 tablespoons of butter going in. Let that get melted. While that's getting melted, we're just gonna go ahead and add in our onions. Get all of them evenly coated in the butter. Once we get everything nice and coated, now we're going to add a little bit of salt. And some fresh cracked black pepper. And then from here, get this going nice and slow. You just want to occasionally keep coming back and moving them every 2-3 minutes. But you want your heat on very low so these natural sugars in the onion can just come out and they'll just caramelize and reduce down that way. This is going to be a little process. So it's been 20 minutes. I've already strained the sweet potatoes, so now I have them here. And I got some paper towels down. And I'm just going to kind of lay these out individually so I can get a good dry on them. Now that I got them all laid out on some paper towels, and get another set of paper towels out to put them over top. And then we're just gonna press down, dry them off as best as we can. After this, we are going to add them to a bowl, toss them in a little bit of oil and our seasonings. Now that we got our sweet potatoes fries dried, I'm gonna come over here and put them into our bowl. Now that we got all of them into our bowl, take a little bit of olive oil out to kind of coat the fries a little bit. And then for my sweet potato fries, I'm gonna add a little bit of cinnamon. About 2 teaspoons. I'm gonna add about 2 teaspoons of onion powder. And about 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. I'm gonna put salt in at the end because whenever they go into the air fryer, I don't want the salt on them to pull the moisture out. But at the end of it, after they're done cooking, then we'll add the salt at the end. Got some parchment paper down on our sheet pan. Sweet potatoes are now gonna go onto the pan. Get in here, like I said, want these to be all able to lay flat, not stacked on top of each other for even cooking. Now that we got these all spread out on our pan, I have my oven air fryer temp at 400 degrees. So I'm gonna go in there for 10 to 12 minutes, pull them out, shake them, flip them if I need to, and then back in for another 10 minutes. So now for the last part of this steak sandwich is just cooking the steak. I already put a little bit of simple salt and pepper on top. I got a nice hot pan. So we're just gonna come in. Hear that sizzle? That's what you want. So we're gonna let this go for about 2 to 3 minutes on this side, not moving it, trying to build up a nice crust. While this is going, I'm gonna add a little salt and pepper to this top side as well. So whenever we flip it, we can get it cooked. After we flip it, then I'm gonna add a couple tablespoons of butter, some garlic, and we're gonna baste it in that. So all in all, this steak should take about 10 to 12 minutes to cook, and then we'll pull it off and let it rest before we cut it. So now that it's been cooking about 2-3 minutes, gonna flip it over. Get a crust on this side. Got this in for a minute. Now we're gonna add some butter. A couple of cloves of garlic. Get something to hold on to this pot because it's gonna be really hot. Gonna let this steak go for another 2 to 3 minutes. Then after here, we're gonna pull it off and let it rest before we start slicing into it to build our sandwich. Now that our steak has been cooking long enough, move it from the heat. We're gonna let it rest for about 8 minutes. So before we cut into it, you don't wanna cut into it too soon and let all the blood and juices flow out all over your cutting board. So you're gonna let that steak rest, kind of let those juices kind of settle back in, and then we'll slice it before we add it to our sandwich. So now that we have let the steak rest, we're just gonna come in, cut it on a little bit of a bias. So now it's time to build this sandwich. So I've already buttered one side of my bread. I'm just gonna put it down in here to get browned on one side. I'm gonna take a piece of cheese and put one down on each side, kind of like I'm making a grilled cheese. And then we're just gonna kind of let this cheese melt on both sides of this. And then after we do that, is then we're gonna add in the rest of our food. Now that we have our sandwich toasted, cheese melted, we're gonna open this thing up. We're gonna start layering in our flavors. We're gonna start in with our steak. Get some caramelized onions. And we're gonna get some of this salad, arugula salad, to go on top. Steak sandwich and sweet potato fries. Now it's time for a little taste test. Yeah. Great date night sandwich for you. If you want to make this for somebody, they're going to be highly impressed.